Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS25 tutorial video. In this video I'll show you how to grow grain crops in FS25. And this tutorial video is meant for beginners. And yeah, I won't tell you how to drive a tractor, but we will concentrate on this grain growing topic. And if you have never played a single minute in Farming Simulator 25, then I recommend my tutorial of first steps, because there I go through every step and not just concentrated on grain growing. And when we start at Riverbend Springs with a new save game like I did here, then we have a wonderful field that is harvest ready. So we would start with the end result of this tutorial because it's already there. And then after we have harvested it, we start all over again with how to prepare the ground, how to sow it, and so on and so forth. So our first step will be to harvest this wheat. Here we have our combine harvester, and I enter it. So and with the Q key on PC, I disconnect this trailer with the combine harvester, and I have my help menu opened because then you can always see which key to press for which task. And I would recommend you to do this also as long as you are a beginner. For PC players, you can open and close the help menu at the left top with the F1 key. And for a console player, you need to go into the menu and to the settings, and there you can open it. And if you just start, it usually should be opened. And there you can always see when I say press the B key and you are a console player, you can see which button you need to press. So now we go there to attach to this header, and down there I see I should press the Q key, and now I go a little bit back, and there the header trailer is left on the ground, and I have my header on my combine harvester. So we will work here with the helper, but I invite you to do this field work yourself to get used to it. But for me and this tutorial, it's much faster. If you wanted to do it yourself, you would need to unfold it first. Then the bunker there is opening up, and then you need to turn on the harvester with the B, and then you would need to lower it with the V key, and then you could start. But I won't start right now because the helper always gets a little bit confused when we as a player start doing the work, and then the helper has to orientate himself. Oh, what is already done and what not. And to see what the helper will do, I press the H key for quite a while, for a few seconds. And then we come into this menu here, and usually we just have to have a look whether it's all done properly, which is the case usually. The game will recognize how wide your working width is, and then will calculate the number of headlands according to the length of the machinery, and it knows how to decide whether the headlands should be done first or last, and all this and that. So usually we don't have to do anything here. It's just for orientation. And when you are further advanced and you want to have special settings, then you can change something here. So I just press on OK, and then I press the H key just normal for a short while. And now the helper is going to get some orientation about what should he do, and then he starts working. And here, as you can see, there someone is sitting inside and doing the job. Here the crop is cut, and inside the combine the straw and the grain is divided, and we get, depending on what we want, we get a straw swath or not. In this tutorial we will forget about the straw. Yeah, I will make different tutorials about the straw because it's a topic on its own, and this tutorial will be a long tutorial even without the straw. So now we can let the helper work, and while he's doing that, we're making some adjustments in the menu, and I'll show you something. So I press the escape key to go into the menu. And yeah, it happens quite often that it saves. The game only saves when you are in the menu. So when you play a long time, it won't save. So when you want to save it from time to time, it's a good idea to go into the menu from time to time. So usually we start in this view here, which is the map, the PDA map. But right now we want to do some settings. It is down here, and we go to the game settings, and we make beginner friendly settings. Because Farming Simulator is a rather complex game and you have to learn a lot. If you never played it or only very short time, then all the tasks that you need to do could be overwhelming. And I know of a lot of players who were desperate because it was too much to do. Therefore, we switch off some tasks for the beginning. And then when you get used to the game, you can switch it on slowly by slowly. We go, so what I have here now, I have the time scale in real time, because then we have enough time to do our job. And when we are done, we can go and sleep into the next day or month. And economic difficulty easy, traffic on. It's easier with off, but it's not such a big deal. I have the seasonal growth on yes. That gives you some limitations, but I will talk to you about this. And days per month 1. If you switch it to 2 or more days per month, everything takes longer. And yeah, it's more easy to adjust the time through the time scale. And for beginners, I wouldn't recommend to go on more than 1 day per month. So now here we are at the crops and growth section. And I would switch off the crop destruction. The periodic plowing required is already off. We keep it off. The field stones are switched off, the lime required and the weed required. And we switch off the disaster destruction. Enabled means hailstorm or tornado. may destroy your crops, and we go on visuals only. So a hail or tornado can happen, but it won't destroy anything. And by the way, if you go to general settings, here you can switch off and on the help menu. And there are also quite a lot of other adjustments that we don't take care in this tutorial. There will be other tutorials about all of those menu settings. But what we will have a look is here where we see this calendar symbol with the 15. This is the crop calendar. And here we can see at which month we can sow a certain crop and when we can harvest it. And so every crop has its own time where it can be sown. And that is rather similar to the reality. And it is in alphabetical order. So here we have the barley at the start because it starts with the B, which is also a grain crop. And I tell you everything you need to know in this tutorial about grain crops, where you need a simple sowing machine and where you can work with your combine harvester that you will get as a new farmer. And this will be the barley, the canola, and then further down, long grain rice. You need the same equipment, but it is special because of the water. So this is not about long grain rice, but oat is very similar to wheat and barley. And then further down, sorghum also. For soybeans, you need a different sowing machine. And down here we have wheat. So it is about wheat and sorghum, oat, canola and barley. And we work with wheat. And so therefore we go down to wheat and we can see the sowing, the planting season is the green one, and it can happen in September and October. Today we have August, so we can't sow wheat today. We have to go to another month to do it, but we will do it. This is no problem. But we can harvest it, what we are just doing. And when we go further up to the barley, it's similar. We plant in September or October, and then the harvest is in early summer. It's a little bit earlier than with the wheat. And this is like in reality. So the big crops that you need for bread and such are sown in autumn, and then they grow a little bit, and throughout the winter they stay in this small state, and then when spring comes they have already sprouted and they are already there, they have some roots, and then they can grow rather fast, and therefore we can have a rich and rather early harvest. But some other crops, they can't go over the winter. But first here we can show the canola. It is rather similar. It takes even longer. We can sow it already in August, and then it takes till July or August to harvest. So there is even some overlapping. It's just like longer than 1 year. But you could, if you sow in August, you can already harvest in July. So you could do canola every year if you so wish. And in FS25, this is even no problem with the soil. In reality, it would. So now let's go and have a look at the oat. The oat is not such a winter crop. It is sown in March or April, and then you can harvest it in July or August. And with the sorghum, it's similar. You sow it in April or May, so you have to wait until it's rather warm, and then you can harvest in August to September. So they all have a little bit of a different time when you can sow them and when you can harvest them. Okay, that's about this crop calendar. And here he already harvested quite a bit, and we should prepare a trailer. So with the tab key I jump to a tractor. No, I don't take this, I take the other one, that one. And then we get a trailer. It is over there. So if you try this first, with Q I attach it, it would be easy to try it in a new save game on Riverbend Springs, because then everything is rather similar. And then when you know the principle on how to do it, you can do the same stuff at every map. And you could even buy your own equipment. It can be different. A combine should be a combine, and yeah, a trailer should be a trailer, but whether it's a bigger one or a smaller one doesn't matter. So now we got the message, AI worker B has a nearly full tank, 80%. So rather soon it will stop, and then we have to empty it out. And the area where the combine harvester, maybe I just jump back here. You can see there is the grain inside the wheat, and this is called bunker in this farming language. And what we can also see at the right side down there, above this circle, we see a symbol and then wheat and a green line that is rather long already, and we get the number, how much liters is inside, and that it is 92% now. So we should prepare for unloading the bunker. So I go back to my tractor, okay, and now we wait until it's full. And usually when you wait until it's full, it always takes longer than you want. And when you don't want, because you have so much to do, then it's rather fast, like in real life. So we will see each other again when it's finally full. Now he's slowed down, and then the pipe is coming to the side. And now it's good that we switch the crop destruction off, because with crop destruction on, now we would destroy the wheat plants everywhere where we drive, which would be very sad. So now we stop, and if you're going too fast or you are under the impression it spills off the wheat, don't worry, it doesn't spill. If it starts unloading, it always unloads only into your trailer, and it doesn't spill anything. It just looks like that sometimes. But this is rather foolproof. So Now we are full and the combine is empty. And yeah, this is by chance they have the same capacity, our trailer and the combine bunker. Now, what to do with this wheat? We have several choices. So, and we go back to the menu, and there is this statistical symbol, and we have several areas, and we go to the prices area, which is the first one, and then we search for the wheat. It is in alphabetical order, first the fruit types and further down everything else. And here we have the wheat, and at the right side we see all the selling stations where we could sell our wheat. And we have different prices that we can get. And if we see a symbol that is green and with an arrow showing up, or a triangle, that means the price is rising. And if it's red and looking down, then the price is falling. And if there is nothing, that means the price stays the same for the time being. And yeah, here at the left side we can see how it's called. When we have a train symbol, we would need to use the train to transport it, which is a topic in itself. And then we see the distance in meter, and yeah, the grain barge terminal is the closest. So here you have your first decision. You could go where you get the best price. It would be the Grain River silo at the moment. And this is not the furthest, but it is not close by. And yeah, this is the B-line distance, and you have to drive back and forth and around a lot to go there. So if you know this Grain River silo, you might think, oh, this is a long way. It feels much longer than those 879 meters. And yeah, if you are short in time, you could think, oh, I go to the nearest place, even if I don't get so much money. That would be the grain barge terminal. And so if you want to get the best price, sometimes you have to drive a longer distance. Sometimes you are lucky and the best price is at the closest distance. So it changes every day randomly. And yeah, some people always want only the best price. Then you have to drive quite a while over the map. Sometimes, not always. And some people are rather lazy and think, I always take the closest position. And then you can be in between and say, oh, today I don't have much time. There's so much to do. I go to the closest location. And at a different time, you think, oh, today there's not much to do and I can drive a longer trip. So it is up to you what you decide, what you choose here. And here we have an even bigger decision. Down there we see this curve, and this is all around the year, starting from March and going to February. And in August we see we have the lowest price for our wheat, which is normal because in harvest time the price is the lowest usually. So it could be worth it to just keep the stuff, store it somewhere in your silo and wait until January and sell it then. And my recommendation would be, if you can afford it to store it and to don't earn money right now, then you should store it and wait for the best price. But if you really need the money urgently, then I would say, okay, go ahead and sell it now. And this is also a personal choice, and I think it depends on the situation in that you are at that moment. And if I would be in this moment right now, having nearly $1 million, I would say just keep it for January. But as I'm also in a situation that I want to show you how to sell it, I would decide for I sell it now, and then I have shown you, and the price doesn't matter for me at the moment. So I make my decision to sell it now, even if I would have a normal save game and I would playing it, I would keep it for January. So now I want to sell it now, and the price doesn't matter, but it shouldn't take too long. Therefore, I choose the Grain Barge Terminal 2 and I click on it, and then I go to Tag Place, and here you can see this is bright now, and then we can go to the map over there, and I'm looking for something that is pulsating, and here I find this triangle that is me. But down there something else is pulsating, and that is a symbol of the selling station, this purple symbol with this plank and the arrow showing down. And this is the selling station where I want to sell it. And so we just know we have to leave our farm, cross the river and go down there, and then we are there. Okay, so I leave this menu, and before, oh, this is good. The helper is done. Very, very good. But we should complete our task as well. Before we sell it, I will show you how it works with the silo. So there is our silo. On other maps, the silo might look different. And we could just go there. Over this grid, and then we are told press the I key to dump the wheat, and we dump the wheat. So we are just going to dump it and then get it again, and then you know how this works. Okay, very good. Now I check whether my trailer is underneath this pipe. And then I press the R key, and here we have silo, wheat, 8,000 liters. And there could be other things inside as well, but as you can see, there is nothing inside. We can store all those typical grain stuff, plus corn and soybeans and so inside such a silo. So I start, and then I get my wheat back. And now we go and sell it. So, do you see this red circle there? Now it says 414. This shows us where our selling station is. But if we just follow this direction, then we would drive into the river. So therefore it was good to check on the map beforehand that we see, okay, we need to search for a bridge, and then we can cross the river, and then this is the right direction. And if we want to have a little map opened up, we can press the 9 key, and here we have a round map, which it's always the top is always showing in our direction, or the square one, the top is always showing to the north. I prefer the square one, others prefer the round one. So we just drive, and do you see on this little map how this triangle is moving, which is us? And so this might help. It's always only very small, a small part of the area where you are. But if you have checked beforehand where you need to go, then that small map can help you to show you where you are at the moment. So, and you see in this circle, this red circle, the numbers are going down and down and down, so we always have an overview how far away it is. So now we have to leave this rather big road to go to a tiny one. Like so. And there we have a grid, and I'll show you the symbol. This symbol always means you can tip your trailer, because this is a trailer that is in the tipping position. And usually it's a selling station or a silo. And in this case, this is the selling station. Okay. With the I key, I can dump the wheat. And now you have to look at the top right corner. And our money is going higher and higher with every second. And when everything is unloaded, they show us a sum. It's 6,532 that we earned. Okay. So what I will do now without recording is I will empty out the combine harvester into the silo, and I will drive back this tractor to the farm, and then we meet up to sleep into September, because we can only do the sowing in September. Okay, now we can go and sleep here at the farmhouse with the R key. Okay, sleep till 8 o'clock. And then after this we start preparing the field. Okay, here we are again. And we just go and take the tractor with the cultivator, which is over here. I enter it. It's already attached to this cultivator here. This is the cultivator. And then again, I press the H key for a while. Usually that is not needed, but sometimes the helper gets better orientation if I does it instead of just pressing the H key for a short time and starting the helper. And we can see what he is planning to do, which could be interesting. So it recognized the working widths nicely, and that is what he will do. He will start with the up and down movements, and then in the end it will go around and do the headlands. So I start it with a short H, and Yeah, what is this headland, what I am speaking about? If we would just drive back and forth on the field, the tractor would need to turn around outside of the field. And if we would have had an infinite amount of place around our field, that would be just fine. But that is usually not the case. And when we have trees go close by or other fields or whatsoever, it is best if the tractor and the machinery stays just inside the limits of the field as much as possible. And for this, it is common to make those headlands. And you could either do the headlands back and forth at the ends of the field, at the narrow sides, or we do it here in FarmSim 25, just circling around the field. And for the harvest, it's best to do the headlands first, because then when you go back and forth and need you to turn around, then you drive on the already harvested area and don't destroy the crops. But here in this case, this cultivating, it loosens the soil and get rid of all these stubbles and such. And if you would do the headlands first, then you would drive and do the U-turns on the loosened soil, and that would compress it again, and that would be counterproductive. Therefore, in this case, the headlands are done last. Yeah, so this is a little bit of farming know-how for beginners. Okay, we let him do his job, and yeah, as I jump out with the E key and run away, because the helper feels disturbed by me. And here we can see how it looks when it's cultivated. And this is the way to cultivate it rather shallow. And I'll show you two different ways how it could look before you start with the further preparing the field. So this is a plowed field, which is just plowed. And we have switched the plowing off, so we don't need to plow at all. And usually, in reality, after plowing, you would use such a cultivator to make the soil look more even. But in Farming Simulator, you could saw directly onto such a plowed field. But you could also cultivate first if you want to play realistically. And here we have a field that is cultivated more deeply, so you don't see a lot of those stubbles anymore. And yeah, this is just a different way to look. And you could go and saw directly onto this. But we will do neither. Before sowing, we will do the first round of fertilizing. And therefore, we need a fertilizer spreader. A fertilizer spreader is not included in our starting equipment here on Riverbend Springs. Therefore, we need to buy it. And we go to the shop with the P key, and on consoles it's a special key just reserved for going into the shop. And here we are where we don't want to be at the moment. We go where we see this tractor symbol, and then we go further down to yield improvements, and then there are fertilizer spreaders. And with a double click we open up this up. Here we have a tiny one that is really cheap for 2,000 bucks, and it has a working width of 14 meters, which is not too shabby. And it has a capacity of 300 liters for the fertilizer. This is not so good, so you have to refill it quite often. But for the beginning, it's a really good offer. And yeah, as we have 1 million here, it wouldn't be needed that I buy this cheap one. I could go for the more expensive one, that one, which has a working width of 42 meters and which can carry 3,200 liters of fertilizer. But I think we are at the beginning stage and every buck is needed, and therefore I just buy the small one. But if you think, no, I don't want to have this small one, I want to start with a good one, then you could just take that one. And the other ones, this is good for lime as well, but the working width is much smaller, and here this can carry more fertilizer, but the working width is also 42 meters, and it is not so easy to steer it around because it has its own wheels, and those smaller ones, they are just at the back of the tractor and it's very easy to use them. So I will buy the Salek one, and you could buy a different one and don't worry about it. So I bought that, and now we need the fertilizer. And the fertilizer is further down in consumables. And we have the choice to buy it in such a metal box with a bag or just a bag. The price is the same, so it's no difference. It's just personal preferences. I think I go for this bag. And we could go up with the amount, but I just buy one. Okay, I buy it, and we are good to go. And now we need to go to the dealership. But I'm lazy, and I guess you are not patient, and the video is already rather long, and we didn't even did the sewing. And therefore, I go into the menu again with the escape key, and then I go to the PDA map, and when I go close to our location, I find my tractor standing there. I click on it, and then I go on reset. And do I really want to reset? Yes. Okay, now it has been reset to the shop, to the dealership. Here it's already open, and there it is at the dealership. I could just jump into it, enter vehicle. And here we are. There is our bag with the fertilizer, and there is the tiny little fertilizer spreader. So, okay, I attach it, and then I go close to this bag and press the R key. Okay, and one disadvantage is as soon as this fertilizer spreader is empty, we need to go back here and fill it up. Later, when we are more advanced, we can carry this back to our farm, but right now we don't have the machinery and know how to do it. So now we drive back to the farm, which is not so far away. And we'll meet each other there. Okay, here we are back again at the farm, And while the helper is working on the field, I want to show you a list of what we have to do. So we already did quite some things. We deactivated plowing, liming, weeds and stones, and we are just doing the cultivating now. The next step will be fertilizing, then sowing, and then fertilizing again, and then wait, and finally the harvest. You might ask, why fertilizing twice, and why doing it before and after sowing? And fertilizing twice is just as this game works. So with each fertilizing round you get 22.5% yield bonus. So the yield will increase by 22.5%. And you can do it twice, and then you have a solid 45% yield bonus, which is quite nice. And fertilizing is not much work. But you can't do the fertilizing directly after each other. So there need always to be one step in between, or one day or month in between. And therefore I thought it's good to fertilize before the sowing, and then after the sowing, then it's good and done. And then we just have to wait until the field is harvest ready. So now we could go there and have a look at the field information. Here it says harvested and fertilized 0%. And here it just says fertilized 0%. And as we did the cultivating, the field doesn't know what crop will be grown there, which is natural. So, but we can prepare something. Oh no, we prepare it when we are doing the fertilizing with the helper, then we prepare the sowing. And therefore we just wait now. Okay, the cultivating is done now. Now it's time for the fertilizing. Again, we check the helper course. Here you can see the working width is wider, and it only needs one of those headlands. So I press H. And then just have a look whether he starts good, and then we will go and prepare our sowing machine. So this is how fertilizing looks, and you can see where we have fertilized it looks darker. That's not how it would be in reality, but it helps us to see, here is the fertilized area. So I jump out. Oh, he takes us with. And then we take the sewing machine. You could do all this without fertilizing, but then you would have less yield. So disconnect that, and our sewing machine is there inside this barn. Okay, and you can see there we have a bag with seeds already waiting for us. And when we come close, this flaps are opening up, and we can just press the R key, and then it fills up with seed. And a little bit more about this sewing machine. We could configure this sewing machine for 5,000 bucks that it can do fertilizing. And then we only need to do one additional fertilizing. But this sewing fertilizing together would be good for only one round of fertilizing. So we would need to buy a fertilizer spreader anyhow, additional. And therefore I just let this sewing machine as it is. And now the next thing about sewing machines. Here we have something which is quite unrealistic, but helps us as non-real farmers to do our job. In reality, you would need wheat grains to sow wheat and barley grains to sow barley, and so on and so forth. And here in the farming simulator, we only have seeds. And you can set it in the sewing machine which type of crop you want to sow, which is completely unrealistic, but you get used to it and it makes life much easier. So right now, the basic setting when you first start with the sewing machine is on wheat. You can see it at the right corner down there above this circle. You see a symbol and wheat, and it is filled with 1,000 liters. And if you want to switch this, you have to press the Z key, just like that. And now we have barley, now oat. And so it switches and you can go all around. And in the end, you have wheat again. So we want to sow wheat, therefore we stay with the wheat. But now you know how to change it if you want to sow grass, for example. Okay, now the helper with the fertilizer spreader is done. And I think we could dare it to just let the sowing helper start and then remove the fertilizer helper. Yeah, we do as we are already used to. Here we see it recognize the working widths and make the correct lines here. Okay, we are good to go. And then we jump to the other tractor with the Tab key. And if you wonder why this helper didn't use any of this fertilizer, that is because we have the settings that the helper buys all the ingredients, like the seeds or the fertilizer also while he uses it. So with every liter that he uses, he buys a replacement automatically. That's a bit more expensive than if you refill it always and you buy it always, because then you have much more work, and then usually it is cheaper than when you have the convenient version. But for the beginning, I think it's wonderful to have the helper take care of refilling the fertilizer and the seeds and such. And later, when you are more advanced, you can switch that off in the settings, and then you need to take care of refilling the fertilizer and the seeds. So now we go and check the difference on the settings here on the field. Here on that where the fertilizer has been already applied, we see fertilized 50%. And here where the, I hope we don't irritate him, okay. Here where it is sown, we can see crop type wheat. It is growing and we have a yield bonus of plus 72% and fertilized 50%. And it says needs rolling. And yeah, you can just forget about the rolling stuff. Even if it says it, you just forget about it. There are 2 yield improvement options that gives you only a 2.5% yield bonus, which is the mulching directly after the harvest and which is the rolling directly after the sowing. And you need rather expensive machines and it is quite a lot of work, and the yield improvements is small. 2.5% is really not big. And only if you want to be a perfectionist and you know how to do the basic stuff, then I would say, okay, go for it. Buy those machines and do this. But if you are more driven by I want to play easy and earn as much money as possible, then you could just forget about it always, because the yield improvement is so small. And therefore you can choose what you want to do. And right now, as you are still a beginner, you can just forget about it. Even if it is written down, needs rolling. Just ignore it. And later you can take care of it. Okay, and there are other yield improvements. We could just go there again. And yeah, you remember that we deactivated the plowing and liming and the weeds, and if you have them activated, you need to do some additional treatments of the ground. Sometimes you need plowing, every 3rd year you need liming, or even more often, because it's getting less each year, and you need to take care of weeds. But because we have deactivated this, you get this yield bonus for free. And this is the same beginner-friendly settings that we have right now. And if you want to have more work later, go deeper into the realism experience, then you can switch them on one by one and take care of this yield bonus yourself. And now we only go for the fertilizing yield bonus, and half of it is already done. So now we wait till the sowing is completed, and then we fertilize another time. As you have already seen it, we don't have to go through it again. We just meet each other again, let's say in October, when the wheat has grown the first time. Now it's October and our wheat has grown to little plants. And we can see in the info box at the right side down there, it still says crop type wheat, then growth still growing, and the yield bonus is plus 95%. So we only have those 2 times 2.5% missing from the rolling and the mulching. And other than that, we got 45% from 2 times fertilizing, and the rest is a present from the game because we have this beginner-friendly settings. Yeah, now I will sleep through winter, and when the wheat is growing further, let's say in April, we will have another look on the field. Now it's April and the wheat has grown Yeah, so we just sleep in until July when the wheat is harvest ready. And if you would play a regular safe game, you would always have a lot to do on your farm. So take care of the other fields, of your animals, maybe greenhouses, and so on and so forth. But here in this video, we only take care of this growing of the field, and therefore we sleep so much. And here we are. It's July and our wheat has grown. It's harvest ready and we can start all over again with the harvesting. And I want to show you at the PDA map. Usually it looks like that on the map, and we see the color of the crops on the field. So here we have wheat. This is this warm yellow, and when we switch it off just by clicking on it, we can see, okay, that is definitely that color and not, for example, the sunflowers. And when we switch to the growth, we can see in which growth stage it is. And now it is orange, and that says it is ready to harvest. And before it has been in different stages of green, like here and there. And down there we see crops that are not so far advanced in their growth stage. And others are here, our neighbor fields. This is plowed and the other one cultivated. And yeah, that is what we want to have, this bright orange ready to harvest. And here we can see it with our own eyes. So we completed the whole cycle, and I hope you learned a lot in this tutorial. And I know it's rather long, but it's a lot to take in when you are a beginner. And I already made quite a lot of tutorials about FS25, different topics, and I will do even much more tutorials about every topic you can think of. If you have questions about this grain growing, you can ask them in the comments below this video. And if you want to have other topics for tutorials that are not yet there, you can also write them down in the comments below this video. And then I know, okay, this is a topic that I maybe have to push a little bit further ahead, that it's faster out, because it will take a while until I have all the tutorial topics out on YouTube. Okay then. If you want to buy FS25 now, I would be happy if you use my Granny Tana order link for PCs. The link is in the video description below. This allows me to make the videos earlier. Now I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for watching and all the best till next time. Tschüss.